Hello and welcome to a brand new podcast for you, the sports fan. I am your host, SlimmDa KID, and you are probably familiar with another podcast of mine, Round 2 Wrestling. Round 2 Wrestling is your in-depth analysis of everything that is pro wrestling. News, rumors, results, and did you know wrestling facts that the average fan doesn't know. This is a brand new podcast. We are bringing back a fan favorite. Football is going to be the topic of conversation, and this particular podcast is called B1G Football. That is a play on words of Big Ten football, which used to have 10 teams, then 11, now we're up to 14, and in a few years, 16 total. A brand new podcast for the college football fan, more specifically the Big Ten, or as I like to call it, the Big 14, soon to be 16. This podcast will cover all aspects of Big Ten football, including stats, rankings, injury reports, matchups, and predictions. A preview of the upcoming 2023 season is the focus of this week's episode, with a look back at the Big Ten in 2022 as well. Speaking of which, we will take a look at the Big Ten in 2022. The Big Ten in 2022 was dominated by two teams from the same division, Ohio State and Michigan, both from the Big Ten East. The Big Ten West was won by an unlikely team, as has been the case since the Leaders and Legends divisions folded and the Big Ten East-West divisions were created. The Big Ten Championship in 2022/23 was played between Purdue and Michigan, with the Wolverines winning the Big Ten Championship for the second year in a row. A 2023 preview. The Big Ten in 2023 is once again set to be dominated by two teams, both from the East Division, with little exception. The Big Ten West is wide open, with almost any team being able to snatch the title of Big Ten West champion this year. Purdue and Wisconsin are the early favorites. A couple dark horse teams from both divisions this year. Both had a down year in 2022 and are looking to get back into Big Ten title contention. The dark horse from the Big Ten West is Nebraska, and I can already hear the collective groan from the Big Ten faithful. An easy non-conference schedule followed by an even easier Big Ten schedule plays well into the hands of Nebraska and first-year coach Matt Rhule, who's trying to make a good impression in Lincoln after several seasons in the NFL. The Big Ten East dark horse is Penn State. Much like Nebraska, Penn State has an easy non-conference schedule followed by an easier Big Ten schedule. Penn State's only losses in 2022 were to Michigan and OSU, the only two teams I see them potentially losing to again this year. If the Nittany Lions can win one of those two matchups, they stand a chance to play for the Big Ten title at the end of the season. We're going to go over a few strengths and weaknesses in the Big Ten this year. Similar to last year and the year before, Big Ten in 2023-2024 looks to be dominated by the same two teams, Michigan and Ohio State. Michigan is looking for a third straight Big Ten title, while OSU is looking to rebound after back-to-back losses to bitter rival Michigan, spoiling any chances at a Big Ten title shot and seriously jeopardizing a playoff spot. Michigan comes into the 23 season boasting one of its best teams in recent memory. A number 2 running back core, the number 1 offensive line, a number 9 defensive line, and a number 9 linebacking core paired with a number 2 defensive back group, second only to defending champions Georgia, has Michigan with a top 10 football team easily through and through. Ohio State is right on the heels of the Wolverines, though, boasting the 10th best running back group, the best wide receiver core nationally, the 5th best linebacker core, and the 4th best defensive back group nationally. These two teams are going to match up very well later on in the year. These strengths have a downside, however. The players in the Big Ten simply don't match up well with the giants in the SEC or the speedsters of the Pac-12. Even a well-balanced team with a disruptive defense has proven to be problematic against Big Ten teams. Just ask Michigan in that loss to TCU in last year's playoff. While height, weight, and speed are important in football, what the Big Ten lacks, and it doesn't matter if it's OSU, U of M, Penn State, whomever, it's heart and passion. Too much in recent years, it seems Big Ten football plays to not embarrass themselves at a national level. While this is good at making the product look good, i.e. the Big Ten, it doesn't produce winners when it's needed or wanted. A few predictions for the upcoming season. The Big Ten always produces a surprise football team every season, and 2023 looks to be no different. Although we can guess, estimate, and predict anything, ultimately it's the players who decide everything. With that being said, here is a quick look into how the 2023 Big Ten football season may play out, and we're going to break this down into the two divisions, East and West. We will give the 2022 record and then our prediction for the upcoming season. Maryland in 2022 finished 8-5 overall, going 4-5 in the Big Ten. We don't see much of an improvement over there on the East Coast. In 2023, we predict the Terrapins will go 6-7 overall, again going 4-5 in the Big Ten. Last year in 2022, Michigan went 13-1, going 9-0 in Big Ten play and crowning themselves East Division champions. We predict a similar outcome this year, however, 11-1 and going 8-1 in the Big Ten, losing to Ohio State. Speaking of Michigan, Michigan State went 5-7 last year, going 3-6 in the Big Ten. We don't see much of an improvement, but we do see an improvement. We see the Spartans going 6-6 and 5-4 in the Big Ten. Minnesota had a great year in 2022, going 9-4 and 5-4 in the Big Ten. In 23, we see a little bit of a downside. We see them going 7-6 overall and 4-5 in the Big Ten. We do have a correction. Minnesota is not in the East Division. We've gotten our teams a little backwards, but that is the only correction we have so far. Ohio State finished 2022 going 11-2 overall, 8-1 in the Big Ten. We see them keeping a similar win-loss record. However, we see them going 11-1 overall and undefeated in the Big Ten, not only winning the division, but also crowning themselves Big Ten champions at the end of the year. Penn State had a good year last year, going 11-2 and 7-2 in Big Ten play. We see them repeating the exact same thing in 2023, going 11-2 overall and 7-2 in the Big Ten. Rutgers was one of the worst teams last year in the Big Ten. They went 4-8 overall and 1-8 in the Big Ten. We don't see much of an improvement. In fact, we see them sliding a little bit, going 3-9 overall in 23, again with a 1-8 Big Ten record. Moving over to the West, the Fighting Illini were 8-5 in 2022 overall, going 5-4 in the Big Ten. We see them slipping a little bit in this upcoming season, going 6-6 and 4-5 in Big Ten play. Indiana had a down year after boasting one of its best seasons in recent memory in 21. They went 4-5 in 22, 2-7 in Big Ten play. We see them doing exactly the same thing, 4-8 overall, 2-7 in Big Ten play. Iowa had an okay season, going 8-5 overall in 2022, 5-4 in Big Ten play. We see them slipping a little bit, going 7-6 in 23 and 4-5 in Big Ten play. Nebraska went 4-8 last year overall, only winning 3 games and losing 6 in the Big Ten. We see a dramatic improvement with the Nebraska Cornhuskers going 8-5 in 23 and 6-3 in the Big Ten, winning the division in the West. Northwestern, the worst team in the Big Ten, went 1-11 overall in 2022, going 1-8 in Big Ten play. 23 is not going to be nice to this team as they have lost their head coach and they have lost any sort of momentum that may have carried over from the previous season. We see Northwestern winning one more game this year, going 2-10 overall, but not winning a single game in the Big Ten, going 0-9. Purdue was your division champions last year, going 8-6 overall and 6-3 in the Big Ten. We see them sliding a little bit, going 6-6 overall in 23 and going 5-4 in Big Ten play. Wisconsin had an up and down season last year, finishing out the year going 7-6, 4-5 in the Big Ten. We see them improving slightly in 23, but not by much. 7-6 again with a 6-3 Big Ten record. The Big Ten boasts lots of players to watch this year and Heisman hopefuls. The Big Ten has its fair share of talent and Heisman caliber players, but a few stand out above the rest. Here are a few players from the Big Ten that could have explosive years, plus a look into the Heisman Trophy race and who in the Big Ten can try to claim the title as best in college football. Running back Blake Corum from Michigan, the best running back in the nation before a Week 12 injury last year, could have a big senior year this year and is a serious Heisman candidate. Wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State, one of the top wide receivers in the country. Teams have to plan around him specifically, also a Heisman candidate. Offensive lineman Zach Zinter from Michigan is one of the best offensive linemen in the country and will rarely get beat on the line. Defensive lineman Jerzan Newton from Illinois, a disruptive interior pass rusher with a quick burst, has a big future in the NFL if he can stay healthy. Linebacker Tommy Eichenberg from Ohio State, the star of the OSU defense, looks to put that defense on his shoulders and carry them to a Big Ten title. Defensive back Cooper DeJean from Iowa returned 3 interceptions for touchdowns last season. We look for him to have a big year this year. Defensive back Denzel Burke from Ohio State found his groove after a lackluster sophomore season. Look for him to have an explosive senior moment. Quarterback J.J. McCarthy from Michigan looked like the star that U of M has wanted so desperately at U of M before an injury at the end of the season sidelined his Heisman Trophy candidacy. He is a serious Heisman Trophy candidate. Running back Braylon Allen from Wisconsin. He's one of the few backs with everything in place to push for a massive stat run. Also a Heisman candidate. Quarterback Drew Ellar from Penn State, a breakout star looking for a breakout season. Already a lot of hype in Happy Valley behind this particular quarterback, a Heisman Trophy candidate. Quarterback Kyle McCord, Ohio State University, top-tier quarterback with the top wide receiver in the country. This could be a deadly combo this year. A Heisman Trophy candidate is Mr. McCord. A few of the more predominant non-Big Ten Heisman Trophy candidates. Quarterback Sam Hartman from Notre Dame, the top transfer quarterback, could help lead the Irish back to the playoffs. He is a serious Heisman Trophy candidate. Quarterback Arch Manning from Texas, a freshman as a Heisman candidate. It's happened before, and he has the talent. Quarterback Michael Penix Jr., University of Washington, the former Indiana Hoosier, took to the Kalen DeBoer offense right away and led the nation in passing stats, a serious Heisman Trophy candidate. Quarterback Caleb Williams, University of Southern California, last year's Heisman winner, looks to repeat. A late season injury didn't slow him down last year, but expectations are high in Southern Cal. Look for him to be a serious candidate throughout the season. We are at the end of Big 14 football, and this is a preview episode, so listen to it as much as possible as we draw closer and closer to kickoff and week 0 in the college football world. Thank you once again, and be sure to check back often for new episodes.